Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to a brand new league racing video. Today, WOR round 9? I've got no clue, I always forget what round we're at. But it is Barcelona, Spanish Grand Prix. And we're heading out for our first Q1 run. One of my favorite tracks on the calendar, if not my favorite. I really like Barcelona. Usually I'm always pretty fast around here as well. No matter if I've done any practice, no practice, a lot of practice. I always feel good around here. It's one of my favorites. On the game, but also in real life, I absolutely loved it. Very difficult track, very technical. Of course, high speed first sector, high to medium speed second, and then a very technical last. So, always difficult to balance the car out, which adds to the challenge, and I love it. But today, we're gonna try and close the gap to the championship leader, Lucas Blakely, because he's not arriving. Last week, there was a race around Monza. We did not drive in there because I had a problem with my pedals. So I had to skip that one, unfortunately. And we picked up 0 points. But Lucas didn't drive back then in Monza as well. I think he's focusing on the F1 Esports tracks, which we do as well. So for today, we didn't practice at all. But again, as I said in past videos, I still like to league race, whether I go into it with no practice. 10 gifted. Sorry, I need to focus. Whether I do a lot of practice or not, I know we're not gonna dominate without having done any practice. We did 2 laps in a short qualifying, and that was it. But there was an F1 Esports test race around here before the first F1 Esports event. On that, F1 Esports videos will be posted later this year. Of course, I can't give, or don't want to give anything away before the last F1 Esports event. So those are gonna take a while to avoid showing other people what we're doing. Into the second sector now, on our first Q1 lap. Of course, like always, we're gonna try and get into Q2 on 1 lap. And I'm pretty confident we can, even though I haven't done a lot of practice. I always feel good around this track. As the McLaren was a little bit on the racing line. I was trying to take a short line, which gained you a lot of lap time on this game for some reason. As we open the DRS for the second time this lap into the final sector. Purple middle, it shows at least. Although I never really know what that means on this game. Yeah. It's been a solid lap so far. No, not really any big mistakes. A little bit under the limit maybe, but other than that, it's been pretty solid. As we go into that very difficult last chicane up to the line. DRS open, and it's going to be a 1:16.707. It's currently P2.
Not shabby.
Oh. Storm Manley goes 1 ton faster, but that's going to be enough to get into Q2. So, yeah, we just gonna stay in, save a set of tires. You can see we ended up in P10. I think after that first run we ended up in P4, so I was comfortable that we were gonna make it into Q2. And now we've got 2 new sets of tires for Q2 and 2 new sets of tires for Q3. And as you can see here, we are on our first new set of tires run in Q2. We've already set a lap on a U set of tires, which is, you know, just to get a lap delta on the board. And through the final corner we go up to the line. It's gonna be a lot faster than Q1, obviously. It's a 1:16.3, 300ths of P1. Now, I felt pretty comfortable we were be able to stay in, but on the other hand, I had not done a lot of practice, so I wanted to go out again and just find the limit a little bit better. I really pushed it, the wall of this lap, and there were a lot of mistakes, a lot of moments, a lot of oversteer moments in this lap, and yet we were still be able to match your lap time, and that shows that we still had a lot of left in the tank. And you can see there, even though we didn't improve in that final lap, I knew we were gonna pretty easily make it into Q3, although it was only by half a tenth, but that's the margins these days in F1 Esports and league racing. So on to Q3 we go now then. First lap, 1:16.172, so that's 1 set of tires. Still a lot of time there. Still a lot of time, as you can hear me say, in that last sector. And in the last sector is where you can gain the most time probably, because it's slow, it has the most corners. So, yeah, easy to make up a lot of time. As now, you can see there, P3 we were after the first run, as George Nadar just went P1. But he has already done his final qualifying lap. We are going to start it now with 6 seconds left on the clock and a new set of tires, low on fuel this time. Into turn 1, braking point is going to be around the 60 meters, down to 5th gear. Try to get a front in and keep the back end stable on that turn 2 exit, which we did not manage to do, and that definitely cost us quite a lot of time. But we have to keep pushing every single corner, because you could see in Q2 that if we push it to the absolute limit and we do make mistakes, it does not cost us that much time. So we're just gonna absolutely send it and see if we can hook it up better than our last Q2 lap. 6,000s up as we head into turn 8 and turn 9. Turn 9 not flat out on this game, little lift, but we do manage to gain a little bit of lap time through that corner. Now last sector is where a lot of time, as you can see, we're half a tent up on Ruben Pedreno into the last sector, and you can see we're just gaining time corner by corner, and we're going to be absolutely pushing those rear tires on this exit. Another 400 gain as we head into the final chicane. You can see fronts were trying to bite into the asphalt, and we managed to get it around there, and we're 2 tenths up to the finish line. And is it gonna be enough for Paul? No, it's not. It's P3. 800s behind Tom Manley, and that was a pretty solid qualifying, you know. I got it hooked up. A little mistake in turn 1, 2. A lot more time there. Nice face cam, by the way. Our teammate Jake Benham, P9. He's our title rival as well, I think we can say. So, he's our championship rival. But, yeah. Now time to head into the race. Everyone more or less starting on hards around here, because that's just the fastest way to go. One guy on mediums there, Icarbena, but we're going for the hard medium strat, just like everyone else, because it's the fastest. Onto the race now. I think there's no formation lap, so straight into it. And as you name it, say, straight into the race we go. No formation lap. It's going to be 5 red lights. And away we go. Initially a very good start, but I got a little bit trigger happy on the second phase and got a little bit of wheel spin off the line. George Nadar, however, got a much better start. And into turn 1, we're gonna go down the inside of Ruben Pedreno. Not to really attack, but also defend from George Nadar behind us. And you can see there Dirty Air is being a little bit harsh on us through that turn 3 corner. As now into turn 4 we go. Pretty clear of everyone behind. And up to not up to P3, maintained P3. And we managed to defend from George Nadar behind us. So now, I think Jake Benham had a really good start, our teammate. I'm not sure. I think he's up to P7 already. So he's 2 positions up. Good start for him. And now we're just gonna try and sit behind Ruben Pedreno. Just no point really. Having to attack really aggressively yet, as there's a virtual safety car deployed. You can see the delta with -3 seconds, so we almost had to come to a stop. As you can see, Ruben Pedreno actually came to a stop, as they were almost getting penalized by the game. But now race is gonna resume here in lap 2. Virtual safety car ending in the middle sector, and you can see Jake Benham managed to overtake that Ferrari and is up to P5. So he had a really good opening lap, 1.5 lap. And onto lap 14 we go now. As I said earlier on, no point in fighting too hard just yet, because there's no point, you know. DRS is really powerful around this track. Main straight is super long. And that means if you just have DRS every single lap, it gives you quite a bit of an advantage, and you can sit back and chill a little bit, not get any track limit warnings. As Tom Manley is already boxing from the hards to the mediums. So he's going to do more laps on the mediums than on the hards, which is very confusing, as there's a car coming out of the pits who has retired. I think that's Tino Naukarina's car coming out of the box. And yeah, that's not very...
What am I watching, man? This game.
That's not very ideal. That cost a little bit of time. But on we go. And that was definitely a little bit of an advantage for Tom Manley, because he boxed.
Why is a retired car driving out on track?
He of course boxed, and even though we didn't lose a lot of time, it's still annoying. So a little bit of advantage for Tom, but still I think that strategy he's on is a bit of a weird one, to be honest. Because of course, logically, doing more laps on the hards is always going to be faster, because just by nature, of course, the hards last longer than the medium. So I don't really get why he's done that. But he has great pace. He was faster in this first stint all along than us, because both me and Ruben struggled quite hard keeping up with him, I felt like. So it wasn't hard, but you know, I've had easier days. As Ruben boxes now as well, so he is doing the same. He's now gonna do 18 laps on a set of mediums. We're gonna stay out. We set our personal best lap time of the race, and we're gonna try and pull out of the DRS from George Nadar, who was 8.7 tenths behind. And you can see now, half a lap later into the final sector, we are clear by 1.1 seconds. So he's not gonna get DRS. Jake will get DRS, but of course we want to stay clear of him as well, DRS wise, because we want to stay out a few more laps, and we want to have pit priority. We just want to box whenever we want, without having the difficulty of looking what Jake's gonna do. So George Nadar pits because he wasn't gonna get DRS. We set a personal best 1 second faster than our previous personal best lap time. So that was a pretty good one. Next lap was a little bit slower again though, 1:19.8, so it was mainly DRS and ERS usage that gave us that lap time. Jake boxes now as well for a set of mediums. He's gonna do 16 laps on a set of mediums. So everyone boxing really early. I felt like staying out a little bit longer was better. So you can see Jake came out ahead of George Nadar. So he had a pretty fast in-lap as well. End of lap 19 now. There's quite a bit of a gap between Jake and Ruben. So we are boxing now for a brand new set of mediums. And we are going to do 14 laps on that set of mediums till the end of the race. Tom Manley did gain around 2 seconds in 2 laps. So yeah, the mediums were definitely a lot faster at that point. But of course, you know, we're going to have the tire advantage till the end of the race. So we should be able over time to make that back. It's just that if we do not have a massive pace advantage, or if anything, a pace deficit, then it's going to be very difficult to get back. Now out onto the track. Now the question is, where are we going to come out? This is pretty crucial for a race. You can see I'm trying to warm my tires within the white lines. And we just came out ahead of George Nadar, which is very unlucky for him, because those first few corners we're going to be very slow, of course. And that's going to cost him quite a lot of lap time, but we managed to stay ahead, and now it's just around 3-4 more corners to go before we have our tires up to temperature and we can start gaining back to Jake. You can see here through the left-hander, we lost around half a tenth before we turned on the overtake button again, so still not quite up to temperature, but we will get it back over time. Of course, the tire advantage will help, and one of the big losses is tire overheating around here, so us coming out with a cool set of tires, well, not cool, but you know, there's an optimum window and you will over time go over that optimum window after like 3-4 laps, so we're gonna have that advantage in those next 2 laps to close the gap to Jake. And out of the final corner we're gonna use a little bit of the ERS as well to get us back in the DRS, and then we can recharge our battery before we mount an attack to Ruben Pedreno and Tom Manley. Purple last sector for us, and that shows these tires are up to temperature now. And you can see we're already in the DRS, so next lap we will get DRS. You can see Jake 4 tenths ahead, George struggling to stay in the DRS, but I was not really focused on him, to be honest. I didn't really care if he was going to stay in or not.
I don't want to get past Jake yet.
I was just focusing on the top 2 to try and get us back. 119.1 from us, and you can see
lift a bit.
I was just lifting a little bit. I just want to stay in the DRS a little bit longer, so that if you have DRS, of course, you've got less drag, which means you use less battery over a lap, which then means, of course, you're recharging faster. So I just want to stay behind a little bit, recharge my battery a little bit more, without losing too much time. But here, turn 3, Jake made a big mistake, and that's unfortunate because everything we gained over those past 2 laps.
We get past Jake next lap.
We've lost now again. You can see we lost around 4 tenths to Ruben there in that section, so that's unfortunate. So we're gonna try and get by Jake on the main straight, and then just slowly make our way to the top 2. If we have the pace to do so, we should have, because we've got much fresher set of tires. But again, the question is, how is our race pace compared to those guys? Because they probably practice a lot. They don't have F1 esports, and you know, they really focus on those league races because they this way they can impress official F1 teams and show how good they are. So the question is now, can we close that gap to Ruben and Tom? That's the question. We're gonna get DRS here. 3.9 seconds is the gap to Ruben Pedreno. He is getting DRS from Tom Manley as well. Into a net P3 we go. Past Jake.
And the gap to the car in front is 3.8 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 8 laps old. Time last lap was at 1 minute 19.3. Okay, we're dropping back by around 4 tenths a lap. Give it everything you got.
So yeah, we lost 4 tenths on that last lap. Because Jake made that little mistake, of course, and that gave us that lost us both a lot of time. But we're gonna try and gain it back. But unfortunately, as you can see there, we've lost time even more. And that's just what I kind of predicted a little bit. You know, we probably don't really have the race pace at the moment. We didn't have the pace in general, but we probably just hooked up qualifying, which is an alternate result. You know, usually we always do worse in qualifying compared to a race pace, but this time we really hooked up qualifying, and we don't have the race pace. You can see we're still losing time to Tom and Ruben, and initially we of course lost that 3 seconds because of the strategy, but over time we should have been able to gain it back. We just were not fast enough, which is annoying, but
Oh, I almost got hit.
it is what it is, as George and Jake are going at it in turn 1. I almost got hit. I think George almost missed his braking point and overshot the corner a bit, and now I think he's lost a lot of positions. So 1.5 laps to go. It's gonna be between me and Jake for the podium, because there's no way we're gaining that 4.7 seconds, of course, unless the guys ahead crash. And Jake 8.7 tenths behind is gonna be our biggest threat. But you can see in the bottom left, we've got 83% battery left, and we can use that to power that extra 160 horsepower battery. Is that what it's called? Should I call it like that? I don't know. Anyway, an extra 160 horsepower once we enable the overtake button is gonna be brought to us, and we're gonna try and use that to defend ourselves from Jake, who's 7 tenths behind, going into the final corner. And we can use all of that battery here on the last lap of the race. Jake is gonna get DRS, of course, so he's gonna be a little bit of a threat into turn 1 perhaps. Of course, it's a very, very long DRS zone, but he only managed to gain around 3 tenths on the main straight. And the main issue I had in this race is that my rear tires were just struggling. You can see there how tricky the car is to drive, and that's why I couldn't use the tire advantage I had compared to Tom Manley and Ruben Pedreno. So I think Jake had a little bit the same issue as me. As soon as he tried to push, he lost the rear in turn 3, and that's when he made that mistake. And we're having the same issue, and that's why Jake is all over us now. And one more DRS zone to go. Jake is 3 tenths behind, but we've got enough battery to defend ourselves into turn 10. And Jake is all over the back of us, but we're gonna be able to stay ahead here because there's not really any overtaking opportunities left here in the last sector, and we should be able to pretty comfortably stay ahead here into the final corner. We're not going to be able to set even a PB on this last lap, even though we used our whole battery. So yeah, that showed how much we struggled with the rear tires. It's an 18.9 last lap, P3. So we gain 15 points to Lucas Blakely in the championship, which is good as well, of course, but I would have preferred if it was 25. We haven't won a race in a long time, actually. So yeah, we should get back to winning ways. I don't like this finishing P3. So I don't know what track next week is, but we will see. I think it's not announced yet. I looked at the calendar before I made this video and I couldn't see it, but we'll find out next week. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe for more league racing content, and see you guys next time. Ciao.